Okay, welcome back to MacBook Air Gaming. This is episode 13, the demo for Dragon Age 2. Up in the right-hand corner, we've got our Fraps running. As always, we're on a 1.4 gigahertz, 11.6-inch MacBook Air with 4 gigabytes of RAM. We're running Windows 7 Home Premium in Boot Camp. Really? Where? Oh, there they are. Okay, so keep your eye on the corner. Or actually, you know, something that I've noticed in my tests of this game, and I'll go into a little bit of what I found with it in a moment, is that it feels smoother than the frame rate would suggest, for the most part. Now, the first Dragon Age was not the best looking game in the world, and it looks like the second one is pretty much following in its suit. I actually liked the first game quite a lot, really, but not because of its graphical fidelity. So there was a fair bit going on there. We're in a medium open space, and we never drop below the mid-20s. Without all the enemies and particle effects on the screen, we're at 37, 35, 36.
Where are we going?
So yeah, you could play the game like this. Oh God, they never shut up. Okay, let's look at the settings that I've got right now. We're running at 1280 by 720. I saw a small frame rate increase when I dropped down from native resolution to what is essentially 720p. This is the same resolution that you would get in the console version. And on this small of a screen, even though it's not native, it still looks okay. I'm using the DirectX 9 renderer. The 320M graphics chip that is in the MacBook Air is a DirectX 10 card. The only options here are DirectX 9 and DirectX 11. If you select DirectX 11, that then enables DirectX 10 as well, which unlocks certain features in the options for your graphics settings. I found though that even that with identical settings in the graphics options, if I had it set to DirectX 9, I was getting markedly better performance than if I had it set to DirectX 11. I'm not entirely sure what it is that I'm disabling when I go from the DX11, or well, really DX10 mode to DX9. But whatever it is I'm losing seemed to make a difference. Also, you have to restart to change out your renderer where the other options can be changed on the fly, which is nice. VSync, as almost always, is turned off. Graphic detail I have on low. I keep flipping back and forth between low and medium, and it really seems to be situational. Most of the time, the medium seems fine. The frame rate is in the mid to high 20s. No, I'm sorry, I should take that back. The frame rate is in the low to mid 20s, but it feels, like I said earlier, smoother than those numbers would suggest. But then there will be moments where it really feels chuggy. You know, you can tell that it's choking on something, and I don't know exactly what it is. This game doesn't have a ton of individual settings for me to be able to dig in and figure out where the choke point is. Some of the videos that you guys have seen of mine, you can see where I go in and I try to figure out where the bottleneck is, and then maximize the visual quality on the other settings while dialing back whatever is causing the problem. Just recently on the Lara Croft game, we saw that textures actually made a pretty big difference. Whereas every game that we had tested up until then, we could max the textures all the way, and not see any performances whatsoever. So I really have no idea exactly what it is that's pushing so hard in this game. You know what, I could guess, but it would just be a guess. I just don't know. Anti-aliasing I have turned off, anisotropic filtering I have turned off, screen space ambient occlusion I have turned off, diffusion depth of field is actually disabled using DX9. High quality blur, same thing. But even if I have those off using the DX10 renderer, like I said, I still seem to get lower performance. So yeah, basically this game will just barely run. It is, that's not entirely fair. This game needs to be set to essentially its lowest possible settings in order to run smoothly, at least the demo version. They may not have fully optimized this code, although I think it's coming out this week or next week. So chances are this is probably near final code. I'd be kind of curious to compare the console version with the bare bones PC version here. You know, how do they look and move differently from each other? Because I wouldn't be entirely surprised to learn that the console version essentially is these settings. But I don't know. But yeah, let's just pop back into the game for a moment or two and take a look at what we're seeing. And again, I encourage you to watch the gameplay and not the number in the right-hand corner, because for whatever reason, now you can pause this game and issue commands individually. As far as I can tell, and from what I've heard, you really just have control over your main dude. Everybody else is more or less automatic. I'm not sure if you'll be able to set up macro commands, like rule sets for them, sort of Final Fantasy XII style, or what. But you don't have the full control over your party the way you did in the first Dragon Age. I don't entirely understand why so many of my powers have gone away from the opening sequence, but whatever. Yeah, see, we're dropping into the teens here, but I wouldn't know it if I didn't know it. Yeah, so that's going to do it for Dragon Age 2, the demo. It will run. Don't let anybody tell you different. You do have to dial the settings down pretty darn low. But it still looks, well, it looks about as good as a Dragon Age game. I will have to load this up onto one of my other machines and see how good it looks at 1080 with all the settings turned up. Be kind of curious, but I don't know. I'd be happy playing it like this. You know, as long as I had my mouse, I wouldn't want to use the trackpad. All right, so until next time.